Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 1048 days Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky, in his evening video address, informed that he held a meeting of the staff followed by a detailed separate report from Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrsky and Chief of the General Staff Anatoly Bargilevich. The focus of the meeting was on the defense of frontline positions, in particular Pokrovsk. They also discussed brigade staffing and rotations. Quote, "The army needs more internal, systematic changes to ensure effective personnel management at all levels of the defense forces," unquote, stressed the head of state. Second topic was the Kursk operation on the territory of Russia. Quote, "Today marks exactly 5 months since the start of our actions in the Kursk region, and we continue to maintain a buffer zone on Russian territory, actively destroying Russian military potential there," said Zelensky. According to him, since the beginning of the Kursk operation, the Russians have already lost over 38,000 troops in this area alone, including approximately 15,000 irrecoverable losses. The Russians have deployed their strongest units to the Kursk region, which otherwise would be operating in the Donetsk, Sumy, Kharkiv or Zaporizhia regions of Ukraine. The General Staff added that Ukrainian soldiers destroyed 104 tanks and 575 armored combat vehicles, 1 aircraft, 3 helicopters and 859 drones, as well as many other types of equipment. During the operation, Ukrainian forces captured 860 Russian military personnel, significantly replenishing the exchange fund. The enemy actively attacks Ukrainian positions. The U.S. Institute for the Study of War informs that Ukrainian forces recently made tactical advances in Kursk Oblast, amid continued intensified offensive operations in the Ukrainian salient, reports ICTV. The experts believe this may be the beginning stages of a concerted Ukrainian operation in Kursk Oblast or elsewhere in the theater. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said before that presence of Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk Oblast may be important for future possible negotiations with Russia. At the same time, overall Russia's losses in the full-scale invasion reached 800,000 people. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that just yesterday Russian forces lost 1,970 military personnel. Dmytro Lubinets, Ukrainian Parliamentary Commissioner for Human Rights, says there is a preliminary agreement with Russia that prisoner of war exchanges will be conducted regularly in 2025, reports Suspilne. According to him, priority will be given to seriously ill and seriously wounded POWs. Quote, "We have also agreed that every Ukrainian prisoner of war and civilian hostage will receive a package of goods from Ukraine via the International Committee of the Red Cross," unquote, informed the commissioner. According to Ukraine's coordination headquarters for the treatment of prisoners of war, 11 prisoner exchanges with Russia took place in 2024 and 1,358 Ukrainian citizens were released. At the same time, Ukrainian open-source intelligence project Deep State informs that the Russians have shot 3 Ukrainian prisoners of war near the village of Neskuchne in Donetsk Oblast, reports Interfax Ukraine. On the 3rd of January, the enemy stormed the positions of the 141st Separate Infantry Brigade. The soldiers surrendered. They were tied up, led out in front of the position and shot in the back of the head. Deep State reiterated that the killing and abuse of Ukrainian prisoners of war by the Russians is systematic and supported by Russia's military and political leadership. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron believes Ukraine must have realistic discussions on territorial issues, reports European Pravda. Macron said that such discussions are a way to find a solution to the conflict caused by the Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2024. Macron said that such discussions are a way to find a solution to the conflict caused by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Quote, "The United States must help us change the nature of the situation and convince Russia to come to the negotiating table," unquote. Whereas Europeans will be expected to build security guarantees with regards to Ukraine, which will be their first responsibility. The French president also warned that there will be no quick and easy solution in Ukraine, referring to Donald Trump's earlier promises to stop the war in 24 hours. He added that Trump is aware that the US has no chance of winning anything if Ukraine loses. Macron further stated that trust in the West would be undermined if it reached a compromise out of a war fatigue. Earlier, President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the first talks on ending the war will take place with US President Donald Trump after his inauguration, and then potentially with Russian ruler Vladimir Putin. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.